Hello everybody, this is a random hobo, and today I want to tell you some of my craziest D&D stories. Now, if you guys don't know what D&D is, it is short for Dungeons and Dragons. It is a role-playing game. It is one of the funnest games that I've ever played with my friends, and that's how I've met some new friends. It's really nice. Before we get into the video, I just want to say that I will be eating gummy bears and drinking Monsters, so just don't mind me if I stop for a little break. Let's get into this. So, first time I played D&D, it was 9th grade. My friend group was like, hey, hobo, how about, how about you try some D&D? I'm like, okay, well, what's D&D? They said, oh, it's Dungeons and Dragons. It's a role-playing game. It's really fun. So I said, okay, sounds like fun. What do you do? Well, first you create a character, with stats, and you're in this group, and there's this person leading a story, and you fight monsters, you get treasure, all this fun stuff. You have a fun adventure. I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. I'm going to join this D&D club for this term of school for, Discovery. So we had a thing called Discovery where you could choose, out of a multitude of classes for your 8th period on Wednesdays and Fridays. And so every Wednesday and Friday, I would go to D&D for that singular term, which was 4th term. So I got, for my final term on Wednesdays and Fridays, I would go play D&D with my friends. So, my friend, let's just call him X for right now. So my friend X was the DM. And he's like, okay, so here's basically the scenario. You guys crash land on this planet, and a couple of the parts of your ship came off. You've got this robot to help you search for stuff, and he made it easy because it was his first time DMing and it was my first time playing. So it was super simple, and I decided, hey, you know what? Let me be a wizard, because wizards are OP. I'm kidding. Their AC class is terrible, but yeah, so it was a fun adventure. We ended up cutting it a bit short, taking out some parts because the term was slowly coming to a close, and on the final time playing, we were fighting this dragon for his loot and for one of our spaceship parts. What's really fun is that I'm the only healer, and everyone else is charging and attacking. My friend Polar Bear, he is using a bugbear, and a bugbear is basically this giant fluffy humanoid bear thing, and he's really tall, he's got really long arms, he's amazing for attacking and carrying stuff. And then we've got a rogue, I think we had a fighter and a paladin, and then we had a wizard. And so this dragon comes up and he starts attacking, and my friend the rogue, she's like, hey, no, she wasn't a rogue, she played a rogue in another game. This time she was a dragonborn, and she's like, hey, I'm gonna roll to seduce the dragon. And the DM's like, okay, I'll allow it, seduce the dragon, do what you want. So she's like, all right, roll, and she rolled an 18 plus whatever she had to add on. So what had happened was, he's like, okay, you rolled high enough for the dragon's I'm not going to mess with you, but I'm still going to kill your team. And so she's like, ah, sweet. And so, my turn comes up next, and mind you, I'm the only healer, and this is the last day of D&D. And so I'm like, okay, you know what, screw it. I roll to seduce the dragon. And he looks at me like, okay, roll. This was the first 1 I have ever rolled. If you guys don't know what a 1 is, so 20, so you have got a 20-sided die. 20 is a critical success, and 1 is a critical failure. I rolled a 1, and he's like, okay, so the dragon, so after telling your very, very bad pickup line, the dragon looks at you, and it's like, okay, I'm going to target you. Your pickup line was so bad that I'm going to sit on you and suffocate you. And that's how my first character died. But it was a fun time. I don't know what ended up happening because it was last time playing D&D, we really didn't get to finish it up. So, another story, I was playing D&D, this is now high school, I'm in 10th grade, I'm playing D&D with some new friends, some new people, but some of my old friends as well. And so we're staying in this little town and we're fixing up this little home. And two of my friends are like Ink and Potato. Let's just call her Potato. They're like, hey, yo, let's get married. And since the whole entire dragon sitting on me incident, I have realized Paladin is much better. And so I was like, okay, what's going to happen is I am the Paladin. I am religious. I'm going to pray to my God. He is going to give me the powers to seal you into this holy religion. And you guys are now waifu and waifu. And I literally married two people. It was amazing. And then my girlfriend at the time couldn't stop bothering the frickin' dungeon master, which is Polar Bear, about getting a frickin' dragon egg. And everyone looks at her and they're like, no. No. Too OP. No. So, there's another time where, excuse me, hold up. Yeah. Intermission break. Alrighty, so there's this one time, so I play the violin, that's decently obvious, and my friends, they were like going through this one place. I can't remember what the heck it was, because I wasn't playing, I was playing my violin for music. And so eventually, about an hour and a half in, by the GM, which is Game Master, which is the control over all the games, and then every single game has a dungeon master. So the Game Master comes up to me and he's like, hey, I need someone to play an NPC. Would you be willing? I'm like, oh, heck yes, because, you know, it's all... The NPC, he already has it in his mind, and, you know, he's already thought about it, all the stats and stuff. He's like, okay, you are a halfling, here's your backstory. I can't remember the backstory that much, but I am a smithy, and... Well, I am an ironsmith. I made some of the best quality armor in the town that they were staying in. And I'm very stubborn. If someone tries to lower the price, then I raise the price and say, nope, that's what you have to deal with. Or I'm very stubborn and I keep it at the price if I like the person. And so what ended up happening is, you know, a couple of people, you know, bought things. And then this person kept on trying to bargain, so I raised the price. The dude tries to punch me, and because of my armor class, he completely misses. And I'm like, okay. And the Game Master looks at me, he's like, okay, NPC, what do you want to do? I'm like, I roll to pick... I'm like, okay, I pick you up, and I'm going to throw you out of my shop. What we didn't know is that my NPC was super powerful. So I roll a really good roll. And when I mean throw him out of my shop, I literally mean, like, pick up, get out of the counter, and literally, like, toss him out the door. My character didn't have to move her legs an inch. He's like, okay, so you pick up this dude, which this dude's, like borderline heavyweight. He's like, you pick up this dude, you throw him through 4 bookcases, lengthwise. So not, like, you know, like, shelves. So, you know, you've got your 2 sides, and then you've got your shelves going like this. It wasn't going through the shelves like this, it was going through like this. Through 4 of them, out the thick brick wall, and 20 feet into a fountain. Outside of my shop. I had the strength to throw him through 4 bookcases, a brick wall, and 20 feet into a fountain outside. So I was like, oh, sweet, that's pretty fun. And so context for this next part. There were 2 rogues and a bugbear waiting inside in a dark alley. And then the rest of the group was inside trying to trade with me and stuff. So I now have a hole in my wall in my shop. And later the rogues and the rogues and the bugbears starts picking a fight with the group. And they start fighting by the fountain. And I'm still in the game because there's still some people in my shop. And I can't leave my shop. I'm an NPC. So it goes to my turn. He's like, okay, so you see a rogue fighting this person. What do you do? And I liked this customer who bought my weapon. He was very polite. He's like, all right, here you go. And I'm like, only because this person was so polite to me, I grabbed the, I look at the GM and I'm like, I grab the nearest weapon and I'm going to throw it through the hole in my wall and hit the, and I'm going to hit the, rogue. And, what had happened was he's like, okay, roll to pick a weapon. I rolled and I rolled high, and he's like, you pull out the freaking biggest longsword you have ever seen. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. And I rolled high for my damage, and I rolled where I actually hit. What had happened was, I threw this longsword outside of, through the hole in the wall that I made with that person who ended up in the fountain. That longsword goes through the wall and straight through, like, between shoulders, goes straight through her shoulders and out the other side until the hilt stops and hits her shoulders. And I'd say she had about 60 health, 60, 50, somewhere around there. She ended up with 3 health left. My character was OP. I am not joking. I cannot make this up. But yeah, D&D is really fun. That's the whole gist of it. It can be tough at times, but if you have a good dungeon master and decent players, it turns out to be a really fun game. I once had a session that lasted for 5 hours, and that was just the beginning of the session. It's an amazing game. If you guys ever want to get into it, start up a group. I might be posting videos on me and my friends playing, and yeah, that's some of my fun stories about it. This is Random Hobo. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, comment. If you want to, share the video. And yeah, TTFN.